Howdy how, FlowChat Connector. Sean back at you here with another high-ticket tune-up. In this video, we're going to talk about the psychology of different types of font, whether we're reading them in a book, looking at them online, and we're going to dive deep into which fonts are the best for when you're selling stuff. What's up, FlowChat Connector? Sean back at you with another high-ticket tune-up, the FlowChat sales training of the day. We're going to get into something really cool. Don't forget, before we get started, smash this like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this out to those other people that need to get better at sales. That's my mission, and that's why I'm here. And if you're along for that journey, you're coming from being a traditional salesperson to turning into a sales pro to eventually becoming a sales ascender, which is the highest rank, in my opinion, of the selling echelon, then stay tuned because this one's going to be valuable. We're going to cover the psychology of different types of font when you're writing font or you're reading books or anything like that, based from a sales perspective, because I think that's valuable. And it all stemmed from a question that I got from Nathan, because Nathan asked this. He said, Sean, do you have any idea which type of fonts our clients would like best? And it's a great question. So let's dive into a couple of different things that I think are going to be valuable for you. So this is a wonderful tip. If you do anything in the online space whatsoever, you're going to want to stay tuned to this one. So here is the psychology of the different types of fonts from a sales point of view perspective, and I'll kind of give you my personal opinion as we go through this. Now, I did a lot of studying on this. I read a lot of research. I went to a lot of places to understand which fonts and why does it work? And so the things that the big thing here is, why is choosing the right font important? Well, number one, your font in your copy, in your messaging, in your emails, in wherever you're writing font can portray a mood. So a couple of the moods that you can bring out, you could be playful, or you could be authoritative, or you could be creative, beautiful, dramatic, fancy, odd. You could make yourself feel refined or hideous even, right? So there's certain places out there that use those like Dracula bloody type long fonts, which are very difficult to read, but it gives that mood of, whoa, this is like Halloween-y style, and it pushes the reader to go kind of into that mood. So it can portray a mood, which is very valuable to know. Secondly, it's important to match your font to your product. For example, if you're advertising frilly women's lingerie, it doesn't match with a masculine Cooper black. If you've ever seen that Cooper black font where you can choose it, I should have made that Cooper black so you could see what that looks like, but it's these big thick letters and it's all dark and very masculine and black. And so if your product is more feminine than masculine, don't choose a font that's like heavy masculine, right? So that's the point there. And then number three is ease of readability, which I'm going to get into some statistics here. So again, we want to portray the right mood, we want to match what we're doing, and we want it to be very easy for our readers to actually read. And if we can match those things with our font, then we're doing the right thing. So Sean, what do we do? Well, let's talk about the major differences of the two types of fonts. So we have serif font and we have sans serif font, right? And so serif has the little feet. So if you see this GIF, right, when it says serif, look for the little feet on top of the R, the bottom of the R, right? On all the letters, there's the little feet that kind of stick out, right? That's the difference between sans serif font and just serif font. Okay. And so now that you know the difference, because most people don't know the difference, now we need to understand which one's better, right? Why are we even looking at this? Well, sans, just so you know, means without. It's a French word. I think it's the French origin word, and it means without. So it's without the little feet on each letter. So when you hear the word sans serif, that means without the little feet. Serif means the feet. And that's why the fonts look the way that they look. Here's the statistic that blew my mind. 67% of readers comprehend serif, right, with the feet, right, versus 12% of readers with sans serif without the feet, right? That means if you're using a serif font, or a sans serif font without the feet, you may want to consider looking at the serif fonts that do have the feet, because it actually boosts the readership comprehension level of your members. It's valuable. Like, what? I didn't even know that, right? So if that's why you would look at, like, a lot of books will all have, like, I just picked up YouTube Secrets, written by one of my dear friends, Sean Cannell and Benji. And if I open this book, I can instantly see that every single letter on these pages have those little feet. So he did really well in choosing a serif font with the feet so that we can make it's easier to read. And then other books sometimes don't have that, right? When books that don't have that those feet, more difficult to read a book like that. I promise, like, get one and try it for yourself. Compare yourself. It'll be a great little test, right? Lastly, serif fonts are proven to be easier to read. I just kind of mentioned that and covered that. So it's what we want to do. Just choose the one with the feet. That's it, right? Serif with the feet, not sans serif without the feet. Yeah. Okay. And here's a couple of pro tips when using fonts. I think this is valuable for a lot of people here. Number one, all caps versus headlines and caps. What do? Do we write in all caps? Do we write in headlines versus caps? Well, actually, headlines and caps is superior to writing in all caps because the reader can read it at 11.8% faster. Again, it's always about our user's experience. And if we focus on how do we portray our messaging in such a way that somebody can read it and comprehend it fastest, it's going to give them little time for their brain to wander to a different topic. This is why font is such an important part of when you're messaging stuff, when you're selling stuff, when you're writing emails back to people. Think about this because it's valuable, right? In this case, on this particular slide that you're looking at right here, this is written in sans serif, meaning it does not have the little feet. That's because our brand colors for our headlines do not have the little feet. It was chosen by our branding department and everything else, which is great. But for everybody else, like if it doesn't match your brand, your ethos, and everything else, think about choosing that one serif that has the little feet, right? Because, and then of course, all caps versus headlines and caps. You don't want to write in all caps all the time. Now, if it's a short 2 sentences or 2 words, maybe 3-word phrase, writing that like I'm lost, you can write that in all caps because it's very, very easy for your reader to read it. However, if it's longer than about 3 words, switch your formatting to be headlines and caps only, and you will go a lot further. Next, all caps forces readers to blink more often, causing unseen stress, right? Because if we're blinking, we're using muscles here and we're getting more blood flow to come to our face, which can create more thought patterns, which creates distraction. This is why reading in all caps or writing in all caps, you don't want to, just don't do it. That's the bottom line. And here it is. What size of font should I use, Sean? Well, in a second, I'm actually going to give you 10 of the best fonts that you could ever want to use. In this section here, 12 point and above is the key. Now, you probably know that because most all word processing systems are like a default to 12. Going smaller than 12 is makes it very, very more difficult to read. Okay, so let's talk about the top 10 fonts used by 100 different US newspapers versus the most legible fonts. And then, of course, I got a little pro tip that I always like to share. This will be the last slide for today, so let's get into it. Here are the top 10. These are used by top 100 US newspapers. This source came out of a book called Cashvertising, written by Dr. Drew Eric Whitman, who is a genius when it comes to the research around copywriting. Cashvertising is one of the best copywriting books that I've read in a long time. So if you haven't got it, go grab it. Looks like this, and you'll see a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about from this particular session is in that book. But here are the top 10 by the US newspapers. So if you're trying to choose a font for your brand, think about one of these top 10. It's going to be the most prolific because it's used the most often. Therefore, people see it the most. Therefore, people are going to want to read it the most, right? So what are the most legible fonts? Number one and foremost is Arial. If you are using Arial 12-point font and above, you are hitting it out of the park as a home run, okay? Secondly is Courier. If you're using that one, again, 12-point or higher, you're winning. And then the last one is Verdana. Those are the top 3 fonts across the whole world based on all these smart people telling me that that's what they say and that all the research and everything that they've done. So a couple pro tips here I just want to leave with you guys. Which is the easiest when you're doing online reading? Well, the answer here is Arial 12-point or larger. Very, very, very clear and simple. And the second one here is actually, oh, I left the second one out. Actually, it is Courier. And again, if you're going to use smaller than 12-point, I would suggest you go to a Courier font or a Verdana font. If you're using 12-point or larger, use Arial. And that, my friends, is today's session. I think it's valuable for you to take a quick snapshot of this so you can see what are the most legible fonts, why are they valuable. Most people are like, oh my gosh, Sean, this is so valuable. Thank you so much for this. So if you want to use a font that's well received and read easily so your prospects can get through your material quickly, these are the things that I would recommend. And with that said, you've just been tuned up. Hope this one was valuable for you. Use that in your mind today. Go put it in your business. Teach it to somebody else, as we always do. With that said, don't forget, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and feed this information out to somebody else that you know might need it. Nathan, I hope that answers your question, and I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, we'll talk to you later.